What do you think about Viego's passive only working on enemies that die on his E, but the soul stays in the mist until they die again? That way Viego can strategically decide to hold some souls for later use and balance this by the fact that he needs his E to activate this possibility. Um, so for starters, that would make soul happenings like far too rare. Like the condition that you have to be on E to get Viego's soul basically makes it like a very unreliable and very unlikely to happen ability. So first step in that is like, okay, now Viego just gets a lot less souls. And that probably means his kit needs a lot more on-demand defenses. So if he's not going to reliably get a soul when he kills you, he probably needs like a shield somewhere, or a bunch of healing, or Jack's dodge, or something. So that would be like an immediate result of that. The second thing is, well, it could be potentially cool for like Viego to choose to when to use souls. It's not how he's really designed. Specifically, Viego's passive is designed to almost always be good. Specifically, so when you're designing something, you could be thinking about like choices and options. It's like as an example, there's a version of Viego passive where whenever he gets a soul, he asks himself the question, "Is this a good idea?" And maybe he says 50% of the time, "No, it's not a good idea," right? And like, that's a choice. That's a way you could do it. To me, though, I thought it was more interesting to instead say every single soul is likely to be good for you and figure out how to use them. Mainly, like, I'd rather you take Cassidon's soul, be like, this isn't really good right now, I'll use Q and then ult out, than instead of looking at Cassidon and being like, I'm not sure about that one. I think it just creates a much more interesting experience when Viego is like 90% of the time grabbing souls. As opposed to like making it like more of an explicit choice that he sometimes chooses not to engage in. So that's like just kind of how it's designed. If I was to design it so that he was choosing souls, I probably wouldn't let him out. And then probably, like you mentioned, maybe he has a bit better control over when he goes in or how he goes in. I see every Viego brain dead, grab its soul to cast all the skills for free and get a healing and free R reset. It has no strategy involved. He just took every soul he can without thinking about it. Might be my own bias though. I like when champs are designed to have the player to think about what they are doing instead of smashing buttons, but it might just be me. So first of all, the idea that he's doing all this for free is completely false. He's not doing it for free. Do you know what he had to do in order to do all this? He had to cause you to die, right? Or stab you with his Q as his teammates kill you. A kill as a condition for doing any of the things he does is a big ask. Like, you wouldn't say that Jinx just gets her passive for free, right? Because it's not free to get kills. Especially like with the fact that Viego isn't Zed, right? Like Viego, in terms of having the tools to assassinate someone, like yeah, he can build some crit and one shot you. That definitely happens, but like his ability to guarantee an assassination and a one shot compared to a character like Zed or Talon or whatnot, a lot lower. So we'll just start with it's a little disingenuous to say he does all these things for free when he only gets to do them if he killed you, which is a big deal. So we'll start with that. The second thing is to just ask, it's like, okay, so he takes your body and he spams all the spells and then ults out. Like, why did I design it that way, right? Like, here's a way I could have designed it. I could have designed it so that whenever you take a body, you're stuck in that body for 60 seconds and you're forced to play as that character, right? Could have done that. Didn't do that. Why, right? Well, again, first of all, one thing that's really important to think about is it would be a pretty insane burden to put on someone to have them know how to perfectly play every character in the game. Viego says, hopefully you know how to play every character in the game. To play Viego optimally, you should know how to play every character in the game. But he also says, but if you don't, I have a way to like get out of it. Like if you can't play this character, ult out. And it'll be good for you there. But then going off of that, then, well, like why do I let him ult out? Why not just say instead, well, if you can't play Cassidon, don't take Cassidon, right? Simple as that, man. If you don't know what Cassidon does, don't take Cassidon. Well, to me, that's just kind of lame and unexciting. It's very much like why would the choice I put on the Viego player be that, like, you know, half the characters in the game he should just completely avoid in regards to his passive? I'd rather, like, say, go play Kassadin, try to figure it out. Go play Callista, try to figure it out. Go play Akali, try to figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, leave, right? And so Viego's passive is designed, like, very intentionally to be kind of forgiving. Oh god. His passive is designed very intentionally to be forgiving, because the experience I want the Viego player to have is one of, like, kind of like adaptively taking over and becoming other characters and then having an experience as someone else. And the second I start making that really, really restrictive and really, really, really skill testing in the way that, like, if you don't play Akali perfectly, don't even take her body, the incentive becomes to just do nothing. The incentive goes towards inaction. And that's something I personally prefer to avoid on a character like with that design. And so I'd rather encourage action, even if there is a degree of, like, well, he'll just cast all the spells and leave. Because I think that creates the most compelling overall experience where you're constantly trying to take lots of different characters. Whereas if we were in a world where we were just saying, hey, this is a really punishing thing that you do, taking other bodies, therefore be really careful and don't do it a lot of the time, unless you really know what you're doing, that's a choice. That's a character you can make. I don't think that passive is nearly as compelling, though. It's like... sorry, I was yapping a bunch, but, like, the game design principle I would use is, like, make the fun thing the powerful thing, right? So, like, if I was to talk about, like, what's fun on Viego, I would say, well, the whole point of the character is taking over other people. And so to me, like, taking over other people should, you know, for the most part, be the powerful thing. Because, like, that's the point, right? Like, if you were to, you know, show Viego to someone who has no clue what he, like, how to play him or play other characters, and they were to play him, their instinct would be like, well, I should just take over bodies, right? Like, their instinct would be like, well, this body is here, I should take it, because, like, why wouldn't I, right? And so then if we made it, well, if we made that punishing, if we made that, like, really, like, questionable to do, it's like, suddenly it's like, the powerful thing is don't use your passive. I think that's, like, fairly questionable as a design choice, personally. So, yeah, that's kind of why I made it that way. How many champs have you helped concept from scratch now? I mean, so... I helped a lot of champion concepts in, like, I think, like, between 2014 and 2016. Like, I was in something called the ideation pod back then. And so, like, I helped ideate a lot of characters. The last champion I helped concept was Briar. But mainly, like, I helped concept a lot of the characters I worked on. Now, full credit for concepting things, you know, goes to the concept artist and the writers and whatnot. But, like, you know, when you're a designer and you're working on a project, you can be there to help out and give feedback, things like that.